universal to the particular, and inductive is from universal. Wait a second, okay.
Deductive is big to small. Inductive is small to big. That's how I remember it.
Yes.
Okay. So you big to small is deductive, right? Universal to particular. Yeah. So okay. How Charvak refutes this argument is when we have already contained what we need to prove in our premise. For example, we have assumed that where there is smoke, there is fire. This type of assumption is like begging the question. We have already assumed what we are trying to conclude. Okay. His problem is with this universal principle Vyapti. Okay, that where there is smoke, there is fire. He says actually Charvak only believes in perception as a valid source of knowledge. Now, if with the help of perception we are unable to prove something, then we cannot prove it by any means, he says. Why? Because sometimes superstitions arise out of other sources of knowledge, for example, testimony or even inference. So he wants to believe only in those things that we see from our eyes. Okay, so that is his problem. So he refutes this deductive inference as we cannot take conclusion in a premise. For example, what we do in mathematics, first we write a statement to prove that all angles in a triangle are 180 degree, and then we try to prove it. Now, this is taking this principle as an assumption is what he questions and what he says that it is wrong. Okay, this is called petitu principi. What is petitu principi? It is begging the question, that taking assumptions. That is petitu principi. He says this is vitiated by petitu principi. Okay, so he rejects deductive inference. Then in inductive inference, he says we are unwarrantedly taking a leap from known to unknown. Okay, what is known? That there is smoke on the hill. And then we are taking an inductive leap that where there is smoke, there is fire, therefore there is fire on the hill. This is known as inductive leap. Okay, he says that we haven't observed all instances of smoke, and we are not sure that where there is smoke, there is fire. Okay, there might be some example where there is smoke and there is no fire. So he rejects inductive inference too. And then he comes to Vyapti as a whole. Okay, Vyapti is based on a causal relationship. Okay, how Nyaya defines it, it is an invariable concomitance. Okay, when A happens, B happens. When there is smoke, there is fire. It is a universal relation. Whenever A happens, B happens. It is kind of a causal relationship. Okay, but how to prove this causal relationship? Perception, as I said, doesn't prove it. We haven't seen all examples of the smoke. Second, we cannot prove it with the help of another inference. Now, that would be an argument in the circle. We are trying to prove an inference with the help of another inference. Okay, so he says we cannot prove it with an inference. We cannot prove it with testimony. If someone says that something happened, we cannot prove. Some sage, some Rishi, Veda say that this inference is a valid source of knowledge. Charvak do not believe in any testimony. He says that Vedas are written by these thieves who wanted to write mantras for money. Okay, so he does not believe in Vedas. So he do not believe in testimony. See, in the old times, testimony meant the words of the sages or Vedas. Okay, so he rejects those as valid source of knowledge. So you cannot establish Vyapti by perception, neither by inference nor by testimony, which means you cannot establish Vyapti. So he says that inference as a valid source of knowledge, which is 100% correct in 100% of time, this is not true. Okay. He says that only what we see is true. That was his argument. Now, coming to the third part of the question, now there is a problem now. If we believe in Charvak's argument and if we reject inference, then is there any possibility to establish inference after rejection presented by Charvak? Now, rejecting inference is a big problem. Okay. How it is a big problem, I will provide this in a conclusion. First, let me give you three arguments that are given by the Indian philosophers, several branches of Indian philosophers. First is that even if Charvak says that perception is only true source of knowledge, then this argument is also work of an inference. This work of an inference. Okay, he's trying to prove something, and for proving, he is taking premises. Okay, his proof is based on some certain premises. Like whatever we saw, it eventually came out to be true. Now he haven't seen everything. How can he say that perception is valid source of knowledge? The first argument for rejection of his arguments is this, that even his arguments are work of inference. Now, if inference is not a valid source of knowledge, then his arguments are wrong. Okay, even his arguments are wrong because they are based on inference. Now, second argument against his argument is that even our thoughts or ideas, we actually do not see. Okay, the ideas that we form based on all perceptions, we cannot see. They are often work of some kind of an inference. So rejecting inference means rejecting to think. Okay, if we are not accepting inference as a valid source of knowledge, then we are rejecting any possibility of formation of any new ideas. Okay, on whatever we see, if we believe only on that. For example, there was a story that when someone, Charvak was eating in his room when some sage came on his door and asked for Charvak, where is Charvak? Then his wife told that he is no more. Why? Because she is unable to see him at that very moment. Inferring that he was alive when she last saw her does not mean he is still alive. We cannot see everything. How can we say that he is still alive now that he is not in front of our eyes? So that is the thing. If we are rejecting inference, then we are rejecting thinking altogether. That is the second argument. Now, third argument is even perception is often untrue. How we perceive that Earth is flat. Okay, you go in some village in UP, the Earth is so flat that you won't be able to even imagine that this can be round. Okay, what we see is not always true. Aryabhat gave his first argument based on some valid argumentation, based on some inference. So, not even perception is then not a valid source of knowledge. Okay, some things we cannot study with the help of perception, but with the help of inference. Okay, like sun to our eyes is very small, but it is not. Okay, how do we know it is not so small? We have inferred it with the help of data, with the help of other kinds of observation that we cannot directly perceive. But with the help of that data and some basic principles, we are able to imagine how big sun is. Okay, one is that. Then second is errors. Errors. What are errors? Errors are that those facts that we perceive but are wrong. How can we exclude errors if we only base all our knowledge only on the basis of perception? What about mirage? We see mirage in a desert, but it's not true. Okay, so if we are unable to infer, if we are unable to think, then we would always believe that there is some water there, okay, in the mirage. So that is the problem. Then with rejecting inference, which now we understand that rejecting inference means rejecting all the gains that we have made over the ages, over the generations, scientific knowledge, mathematical knowledge. We are rejecting that. So answer to this third question is there any possibility to establish inference after rejection presented by Charvak? Yes, there is a possibility, and not only possibility, we have to accept inference because it is so natural to think. Okay, if we are to think, we have to accept inference. There is some comment. What arguments presented by Charvak are also
So it's from Pratik. He's saying what argument presented by Charvak.
Whatever we are, see, if he rejects testimony, what he says that whatever Newton said was wrong. Okay, we are not to believe, not wrong, but we are not to believe in it. He says that we every time if we have to think, then we have to invent wheel. Okay, every time we have to invent wheel from the starting. Okay, from the start. Okay, if we have to invent a machine, first we have to invent bolts, then we have to invent nuts, then we have to invent wheels. So he is rejecting everything that is not perception. That is a big problem. So this was the first question. Okay, if there's any point of discussion or some doubts.
Yeah, I'm waiting for other people to respond. Anyway, we are
My
interacting.
views about what?
I'm saying let other people also.
On this, on the narrative that you told us about the different theories and how he looks at them, and basically how he's flawed in certain instances because he's also relying on perception. Sorry if I say something wrong, but that's what I understood. So if you were to end this with... Okay, so if you were to end it with, say, your overview or your opinion on this whole narrative, on his theory of how he tests inference, what could you say about it?
Now, his aim was to keep us away from all kinds of dogmatism and superstitions. That is okay, but to do that, he had to give some valid hypothesis. Okay, this is very crude philosophy. He hasn't given much thought to it. Okay, so I think his philosophy is wrong. What he wanted to do would be right based on what we think about our worldview. But at least if we talk about this philosophy, the system of argument that he built was definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you.
So should we move on to the second question?
Yeah. So just beyond this question, Pulkit.
I think there's a lot that was covered.
Yeah. So my point is there
and other work or argument presented by other are invalid, then how can one believe on Charvak? Yes, even if he says that testimony is wrong, then how can we believe in him? He is also giving some kind of a testimony. So yeah, there are many ways we can in which we can refute Charvak. Okay, Charvak is the easiest philosopher to refute. There are so many errors in his argument.
Just out of the context, Pulkit.
Now coming to the second question, what is Pratiti Samutpad and how is it related to four noble truths?
Sorry.
compare interpretations of Pratitya Samutpad given by any two schools of Buddhism. Now, this question actually covers whole of Buddhism and all its schools. If we try to inculcate the interpretations of Pratitya Samutpad, okay, the major point of difference between all schools of Buddhism is this thing, Pratitya Samutpad. Now, coming to what is Pratitya Samutpad then? Samutpad is a theory of dependent origination. It says that whatever a thing is dependent on some kind of an antecedent, some kind of a cause. Okay. So, with the help of this, we can explain every cause in the world. For example, if we say why there is something bad happening to certain person, we can argue with the help of Pratitya Samutpad that he must have done something wrong. But okay, it is linked to the theory of karma, and actually, with the help of Pratitya Samutpad, he tries to explain a lot of things. So, what? Just wait a second. So, the main mantra of Pratitya Samutpad is Asmin Sati Idam Bhavati. Means this happens, this arises. Asmin Sati, this happens, this arises. Asmin Sati Idam Bhavati. This happens. Okay. Which means if something happens, there is always a following effect of this. Okay. Whatever happens, it has an effect. Or whatever is happening must have a cause. Okay. With the help of this argument, he says that out of nothing, nothing comes. There's a Greek saying, ex nihilo nihil fit. Out of nothing, nothing comes. Okay. This is Pratitya Samutpad. Now, this is the basic theory. What is Pratitya Samutpad? He explains with the help of this Pratitya Samutpad what are the causes which drive the whole world. Okay, he gives a 12-spoke cycle. Okay, a cycle with a 12-spoke, a wheel with a 12-spoke. Okay, the wheel goes as this. Actually, with the help of Pratitya Samutpad, he's trying to figure out what is the whole cause of suffering. See, we know that he gave 4 noble truths. Okay, the first was that there is suffering. The second was that there is a cause of suffering. Third, that that there is a cessation of suffering. And fourth, that there is a way to achieve this cessation of suffering, way leading to cessation of suffering. Okay. So, in the second and third truth, his whole argument of Pratitya Samutpad is contained. With the help of Asmin Sati Idam Bhavati, we can say that everything is relative, everything has a cause, everything is conditional and momentary. So change is the law of nature. Change is the law of nature. Okay. So if there is suffering, then there must be a cause of suffering. What causes suffering? He says it's birth. If you are born, you are here to suffer. Okay. So his first spoke of, as I told you about the 12 spokes of his wheel, the first spoke is Jara Maran, which means suffering. Okay. You can write it, this 12 spoke wheel. It is written in the material also. If you can open Heterodox Systems, Block 2 and Unit 2.
Before that, am I audible? Pulkit.
And page.
Hello.
Page 5. Block 2, Unit 2, page 5.
Pulkit, am I audible?
So here there are 12 items of that wheel of 12 spoke. First, he has in this IGNOU notes, what they have done is uh, they have first taken the root cause and then they have given the effect. How I am explaining it is, first I have taken the final effect and then I am trying to find a cause. So I would go in the reverse pattern that they have given here. So the last thing is pain, old age, and health. These were the three truths that he found of the human life, that there was pain, people are going to age, and there would eventually be a death. Okay, this is called as Jara Maran. Okay, so this must have a cause. Why is there pain, old age, and death? It is because of Jati, that is rebirth. Because we are born, so we are bound to feel pain, we are bound to age, and we are bound to die. Now, why we are born, then the question arises. He says that because there is will to be born, because we want to take birth, therefore we are born. Okay, so will to born, bhava. Why there is a will to born? Because there is a clinging to existence, upadan. Upadan means material. Because we are so fond of this material world that we are clinging to it. Therefore, there is a will to be born. Even if we die, we want to born again. Okay, there is will to be born. Why is there will to be born? Because there is a desire, Trishna. Trishna means thirst. Okay, there is this thirst to enjoy these things, the worldly pleasure. Okay, there is a thirst to enjoy this worldly pleasure. Why there is this Trishna? Because there is Vedana, that is sense experience. Okay, that we have experienced these objects and we found pleasure in experiencing them, and therefore there is a strong desire. Why there was a sense experience? Because of sparsh, because we actually contacted them. Okay, contact between senses and object, sparsh, because there was sparsh and therefore there was vedana. Why was there sparsh? Because of shad ayatan. Shad means 6. Okay, shad ayatan. Ayatan means object. There are 6 sense organs. 5 you well know, and 1 is mind. Okay, 5 sense organ plus mind. These are shadayatans. Okay, 6 sense organs. Because there are these sense organs that enable you to enjoy things, and therefore this arises contact, and then vedana, and then trishna, and so on. And why there is shadayatan? Because of nam rupa. Nam rup is psychophysical body. Roop means physical, Naam means the psychic entity that you are. Okay, Naam Roop actually is soul. Okay, the living body itself in Buddhism, according to Heenan, is soul. Okay, so this Naam Roop that exists, the psychophysical body, it is because of this that this Shadayatan, 6 sense organs are there. Okay. Why there is Naam Roop? Naam Roop is because it was born, this embryonic Naam Roop, this subtle organism that is Naam Roop, that is, I said, that is soul in Buddhism. Why it is there? Because of some initial consciousness. Because some initial consciousness pushed the soul into life. Okay, Vigyan. Vigyan, what is Vigyan? Vigyan is actually consciousness. Okay, Gyan means knowledge. Vigyan means some kind of special consciousness. This I would explain shortly. Why is there Vigyan? Because there were some impressions, samskar. What are these impressions? Actually, these are karmic impressions of the previous life. Okay, so there were karmic impressions of the previous life, because of which. Now, what is karma? Karma is is imagined as a basket where whatever karma you do, it sticks into that basket. Okay, and you have to enjoy the effect of all the karma that you have done. Okay, that is the impression, that karmic impression that you carry with you. Okay, now this karmic impression, even after you die, this forms initial consciousness, that is Vigyan, of your next life. In the next life, you are embedded with this initial consciousness or Vigyan, okay, which in your embryo, which grows to be a Nam Rupa, and then there is Shadayatan and so on. Okay, now the question arises, why this karmic impression arises? Why whatever we do creates some kind of karma and that sticks? Why this karmic impression sticks? He says it sticks because of our ignorance, because we are not aware that our actions have an effect. That is why these karmic impressions stick. So root cause of all our suffering is ignorance, because we don't know that what is our root cause of suffering. That itself is the root cause of suffering, that ignorance, that we are not able to understand. Okay, now this is actually imagined as a cycle. Okay, so what happens is, you have ignorance that creates some karmic impression that in your next life creates the Vigyan, the initial consciousness of your embryo, that creates this psychophysical being Nam Rupa, which develops Shadayatan, 6 sense organs, which enables you to have Sparsh, which creates Vedana, sense experience, which creates the thirst to have that sense experience, which creates desires, Upadan, and which creates a will to be born, an urge that you have to live again, which creates rebirth, and then it creates that creates life. Okay, pain, old age, and death, Jara Maran. Okay, now in this life, you again create some karma, you again do your actions that creates karma, and this cycle repeats again with samskar. Okay, so this is a cycle of death and birth. This Pratitya Samutpat is also a cycle of death and birth, in that sense, that you do ignorance and the old life repeats, and there is pain, old age, and death, and then there is again ignorance, and you create new cycle of new cycle of karma. Okay, so this is Pratitya Samutpat. When he was asked about Pratitya Samutpat, Buddha often called it, compared it with dharma. Okay, so Pratitya Samutpat itself is dharma. If you know Pratitya Samutpat, you know dharma. Okay, dharma, by the way, is ethics. Okay, if you know Pratitya Samutpat, you know ethics. Okay, so knowing Pratitya Samutpat is knowing all of Buddhism. So here we can understand that this question, the second part of this question, how is it related to Four Noble Truths? This then becomes self-explanatory. The whole system of Pratitya Samutpat actually explains the second truth directly. Okay, what was second truth? That's Dukh Samudaya, that there is a cause of suffering. Buddha's second truth was there is a cause of suffering. Now, this directly explains Pratitya Samutpat. It explains that with the 12 spoke cycle, that root cause of suffering is ignorance. So this we know that there is a link with the second noble truth. There is also a link with the third noble truth, that is cessation of the suffering. If we say that knowing Pratitya Samutpat is if we say that ignoring Pratitya Samutpat itself is ignorance, so ignorance itself is a cause of suffering, then knowing Pratitya Samutpat means that there is a possibility of removal of this ignorance. And if you can remove this ignorance, which means the third noble truth, that there is a cessation of to suffering. Okay, so it is not only related to the second noble truth, it is also related to the third noble truth. Okay, when it was actually not the intention of Buddha to give any kind of philosophy. Okay, he always said that whenever someone asks some kind of philosophical or metaphysical queries to him, so he always used to smile. It is said that he always used to smile. He never used to indulge in the philosophical arguments of the Pratitya Samutpad. Okay, that was not his intention. However, what happened over the course of time, that his followers, with the help of his explanation, tried to explore more. Okay, and therefore, with the interpretation of this Pratitya Samutpad and four noble truths, various schools of Buddhism emerged. The first was Hinian, and then various schools of Mahayana. Okay, even Hinian is not a some kind of a course. Concrete school. Even this Hinian has many branches, and Mahayana have various branches. Yes, I would like to have some kind of response, because now I'm feeling
Exhausted. Okay. Am I audible, Pulkit?
only I am speaking, nobody else is speaking.
Am I audible?
So
Pulkit,
please give some
Pulkit,
response
can you hear me?
if anyone has to say something.
Hello.
Honestly, my response is I'm just really impressed how you know so much. And like, of course, I've been noting down everything that you're saying, like most of which I'm able to understand. But I am baffled. How do you know so much?
Yeah, same here. I'm just
We are enjoying the
I'm just feeling so guilty for not doing my bit. I wish I'd at least done that more reading to be able to engage with what you're saying. But really, just like Vipanita said, it's so impressive how you're just sort of interweaving all these concepts, and it's so seamless. It's amazing.
Actually, if you read this book, Seri Sharma, it is so awesome that it was written in 1960, okay? And this guy, his book is even read today. So you can understand how well it is written. If you read that book, you will understand everything.
I think there's a lot of clarity in the concept here.
Yeah. You read that. Actually, what I found was this Indian philosophy IGNOU material is copied from this book. So every copy is bound to have some imperfections. They tried to present it like notes, but they couldn't build a story that Sri Sharma built. Now my question is, should we mention all 12 number chain? Yes, we should, I think, remember, and yes, we should remember all these 12 links. See, so there are 12 rings, and there are sometimes some thinkers say that there are intermediate links between these links also. So from 12, it comes out to be sometimes 44. 24 spoke wheel that we find on Ashok Chakra. It is derived from Buddhism. Some people say it is also mentioned in this Upanishads, and he has actually copied from the Upanishads.
Okay.
Buddha has actually copied this 12 spoke wheel from the Upanishad. But actually, when we read this book, C.D. Sharma, we find that the thinkers of Buddhism and thinkers of Brahmanism are not in some kind of a compartment, that what Buddha is saying often Brahmins appreciate, and what Brahmins are saying Buddhists appreciate. So there is even sometimes there is conversion. One Brahman priest becomes a Buddhist thinker, and then Buddhist thinker becomes a Upanishadic philosopher. That was going on in ancient India. So saying that it was first contained in Upanishad or second it was contained in this argument does not hold. The thing is, it is an Indian argument, Indian way of discussing what is the root cause of our suffering. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, okay, then we should come to the interpretation of Pratitya Samutpad. They have asked any two schools of Buddhism. According to any two schools of Buddhism, we should. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, Yaksha this side. Just wanted to understand a bit so that I have complete clarity. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please. Certainly.
Yeah. So, see, when you say Indian way of thinking, so just want to understand the word Indian. So, do you refer to the geographical boundary of India of past at this time when this was written, or you are referring to the idea of a nation? So, what actually that word describes?
Actually, it describes a cultural entity. It is, you can say, it is kind of a school. Like when we talk of Greek philosophers in Western philosophy, it actually contains all the philosophers that came from Turkey at that point of time, or somewhere else, say from Egypt. Okay, that was their school of thinking. Okay, they were all thinking in one direction. Now, when I'm saying Indian way of thinking, it means that when we are thinking in this direction, the way Indians think or Indian philosophers think, even if according to this sense, even Dalai Lama, I would say, is an Indian philosopher, because his basic premises on which whole of his theory is based is actually this Indian philosophy, this root Indian philosophy. If some Japanese thinker tries to build his argument based on these arguments, I would say this is Indian way of thinking.
Sure, thanks. It's clear now. Thank you.
So now coming to Pratitya Samutpad, I said based on Pratitya Samutpad, there were many ways to understand the world. Okay, what is world? According to Buddha, he just refuted to even entertain any such metaphysical query. Is there world, or is there soul, or is there God? There is a story that when some Brahman came to him and asked him that is there soul, then Buddha just smiled. Then his student Anand asked, "Why did you smile? You know the answers. You know everything." He said, "If I had said that there is soul, then I would have confirmed the theories of the Brahmans, which believe in some kind of a permanence. That there is some permanent entity which live on after we die. Okay, if I had said that there is no soul, then I would have confirmed the theories of those Brahmans who believe in impermanence, that everything is transient." So he always tried to take a middle path and never indulged in these philosophical thinking. According to him, all phenomenal things hang between reality and nothingness. There is no absolute reality and there is no absolute nothingness. But based on his understanding of Pratitya Samutpad, people actually proved impermanence also, and people also proved permanence. Okay, so that was the thing. The first school that I would like to take is the first school that emerged out of Buddhism. That was Himyan. Now, the basic mantra that he gave was Asmin Sati Idam Bhavati. This happened, this arises to be. Okay.
Pulkit, sorry, I was on mute. I was speaking. I was on mute.
Yeah.
Question there. I actually didn't understand. So when you say that it is the middle way, so do we say both of them, or do we say none of them, or what are we saying? So is there a soul or not a soul? As per Buddha, what's the answer?
Now, some thinkers say that not only these two categories, that there is or there is not. People sometimes say there are not two but four categories, that something is not, something is something both is and is not, and something is neither is or not nor not. Okay, these are the four categories of thinking in Indian philosophy. These are called as Chatuskoti, or four categories. When we come to Shunyavad school of Buddhism, they say that reality is beyond four categories. Okay? We just cannot think about the reality. Our power of imagination is so small that this reality neither is nor not, nor both is or both is and not, and neither is nor not. Okay, so that is the thing. So Buddha never explained it.
Understood now. Very interesting. Understood. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, this philosophy actually was further developed by Vedantic philosophers. The Shankaracharya took exactly these four categories even in his philosophy. So, and therefore, sometimes what happens is many Brahmins accuse Shankaracharya to be a Buddhist. Okay, by the time it was 8th century, Buddhism was almost gone. It had developed many rituals, and therefore people were not. I think it is my understanding that people were ashamed of to be called Buddhist. So he was often accused of being Buddhism, and therefore he, even though his theory and Buddhist theory are so similar, and yet he refuted Buddhism vehemently. Okay, he criticized Buddhism so much that nobody else had criticized Buddhism so much. Even though when we read Advait, even this Siddhi Sharma, Siddhi Sharma says that even Radhakrishnan observed that in his philosophies that these are very similar, Shunyavad and Advait Vedanta. So this is the thing. And now let's come to this interpretation of Pratitya Samutpat. Now the basic argument was that Asmin Sati Idam Bhakti. This being, this arises, which means everything is conditioned on something, everything is momentary. Okay, so everything is conditional, everything is dependent on a cause. So, and not only this, Buddha compared this dependent origin to dharma itself, which means this is something like a law of nature. This changes law of nature. Okay, everything changes. With the help of this, what Henianists did was they developed another aspect of this theory and said that if everything has a cause and everything is dependent, then in order to be for something to be real, something has to be transient. If there is no change in something, which means it does not exist. Okay, so they made impermanence as the law of nature. This is called Arth Kriyavad. Okay, Arth Kriya Karitvavad, the theory of causal efficiency. That criteria of existence of a thing itself is its capacity to produce an effect. If something cannot produce an effect, it means it just does not exist. Okay, Henianists molded this theory this theory with the help of some simple words in this direction, that impermanence is the law of nature. So everything is impermanence. Okay, everything is trying to become something. Everything is bhava. In that 12-spoke cycle, there was a word bhava, will to become. Everything has a will to become something else. There is an internal urge to become something else. Okay. In that book, Siddhi Sharma, it is compared with a theory known as Elan Vital. Elan Vital, given by Henry Bergson. he also says that everything has a urge to become something else, and therefore this whole world is changing. This whole world is growing. Okay, the seed grows out to be a plant, and then it gives fruit, and then it dies, and the whole cycle repeats again. There is always an urge to grow and grow. Yeah, title of the theory is actually title is this title is Kshan Bhangvad. Okay, that I have not told till now. But the main formula is Arth Kriya Karitva Vad. Arth Kriya
Okay.
Karitva. Okay. So this is how they interpreted this Pratitya Samutpad. Now, the Buddha, I said his interpretation was that he refuted to comment whether a thing. Oh, Henry Bergson's theory. Okay, it was Elan Vital. His theory was Elan, E-L-A-N, Elan, V-I-T-A-L, Vital. So, Buddha actually didn't comment on any metaphysical aspect. So, our understanding could be that there is neither being nor not being. Okay, neither there is something nor there is not. Okay, Pratit Samutpad is theory of dependent origination. Okay, it only says that everything is dependent on something.
Okay.
So, based on this theory, actually, he worked out that the root cause of all suffering is ignorance. That was Pratitya Samutpad. The main formula of Pratitya Samutpad was idam sati, asmin sati idam bhavati. This being, this arises. Okay. So, I was talking about this Kshan Bhangvad, that if Buddha said that neither there is being nor not being, neither a thing is nor not is. Okay, neither we can say that soul is, nor we can say that soul is not. So this was read as neither there is being nor not being. What Henianist interpreted this is neither there is being nor not being, and therefore everything is becoming. Everything is becoming to be something. Neither they have nor they have not started. They are in the course of being, becoming. Okay. So this theory was known as Kshan Bhangvad. Kshan Bhangvad, Kshan means moment. Theory of momentariness, that everything is momentary. Okay. That we are not we are. Actually, when we see ourselves, we are not seeing ourselves. We are seeing ourselves a fraction of second before. Okay, everything is momentary. Okay, what we say that we are is not we. It has gone already by the time we think. So everything is momentary. Everything is in a perpetual state of flux. Everything is just moving. So obviously there is no permanent entity. That there cannot be any God in this theory. Why? Because everything is impermanent, and God by definition is eternal. Okay, God by definition is eternal. Okay, Sarvastivad, it is based on this Kshan Bhangvad only, but I actually do not plan to for second this theory. I haven't planned to take Sarvastivad. I will take this Kshan Bhangvad and then Shunyavad. Sarvastivad is only that everything is. Now these Henianists are saying that everything is momentary. Okay, now there is a debate that then there is no soul. It means there is nothing permanent. Now there is no God. Also, if we see that atomists believe that the atoms are permanent, okay, they do not change. At least if every material is composite and everything is made up of something, and finally, ultimately, they are made up of atoms, and these atoms are permanent. These are the only thing that remain permanent in the material world. They reject atoms. Okay, this the theory of Charbangwad, theory of momentariness, rejects atoms altogether. Okay, so the this is what Henianist interpretation of Pratit Samutpad is. Okay, the three things on which this Shadbhangvad, the theory of momentariness, believe is three. There are three principles. One is anikka. Anikka means no. Actually, Henianists were the theories of Henian were written in Pali, not in Sanskrit, which means that initially Buddhism attracted lower caste people who did not understand Sanskrit. As we know, in the ancient times, Sanskrit was the language of aristocrat. For example, in 18th century in Europe, people speak different languages. Okay, but the aristocrats always spoke French. Similarly, in India, people always spoke their own languages, but on the highest levels, people spoke Sanskrit. So this was written in Pali, which indicates that not many these philosophers, the established philosopher, didn't give the initial theory. Okay, it was written in Pali, the people's language. So, in the Pali canon, canon means basket. Okay, basket of rules or this. So in the Pali canon, three for Henian, three principles are given. One is anika, impermanence. Second is dukkha, that there is dukkha that Buddha gave theory, this theory, and last is anat, there is no atma. Okay, there is no soul. So no soul, no permanence, and there is suffering. This was with the help of the Pratit Samutpad's understanding, they came to this theory. This is one understanding. Okay. If anyone has some doubt in this understanding, tell me. Then I will come to Shunyavad.
So, Pulkit, am I audible now?
1 second. If black says Pratit Samutpad is cause chain effect, can we define what we are to define? I didn't understand your question, Rohan. Should we go on to which block we need to refer? This is second block and second unit, I guess. Let me see. Yeah, heterodox system, second unit. Second block, second unit. First part of the question. The block. You are saying that the block says that Pratit
Right.
Samutpad is a cause chain effect. Yes, we can certainly say that it is a cause. I'm referring to the first part of the question. Yes, this is a cause and chain effect because he himself has said that Asmin Sati Idam Bhakti. This happens, this arises, which means there is a cause and there is an effect. It is a cause and effect. In fact, people often say that it is a theory of causation, full build theory of causation. Like in Indian philosophy, there are two theories of causation. One is Satkaryavad and second is Asatkaryavad. Satkaryavad means the effect is real in cause. Sat means real, Karya is effect, and Satyavad is okay. So real effect, that every cause produces a real effect. That is Satyavad. Satyavad, that is not the opposite. I think this is a question. I think you have to. It was taken by you, I think, Govind, right?
Yeah.
Causation theory.
So, am I audible now? Hello?
Okay. So now coming to the second, this second school of thought, it is Shunyavad. The Shunyavad is same Shunyavad which gave this theory of Shunya, the voidness, with the help of which it is said that India gave zero to the world. Shunya. Okay. What this theory is now, as I have said, that Buddha actually said that that there neither is or neither being nor not being. Okay, there is neither being nor not being. That Buddha said that. What Shunyavad interpretation was of this neither being nor not being is that we cannot explain what reality is, which means it is not comprehensible. We cannot understand. There are limits to our imagination, and therefore we cannot imagine exactly what this reality is, and then therefore we cannot speak about it. Okay, that thing I said, that it is Chatuskoti Vinir Mukti. This is exactly what Shunyavad says. It is beyond four categories of intellect. It is neither being nor not being, neither both being or not being, or neither being or not being. So there were four categories of this intellect. So the understanding of that Pratyati Samutpad is this, that we cannot explain what exactly the reality is. Okay, I will cover this question, the second school, and also see the fourth question, second part in the assignment. What is Shunyata and how it is related to Pratyatisthamutpad. Okay, so this Shunyata is the concept given by Ashu Ghosh and Nagarjun. Both of them are Shunyavad philosophers. Okay, and obviously this is based on Pratyatisthamutpad because that is the core theory of Buddhism. Okay, so I will with this explanation I will cover both the questions. Okay, so what he says that about the reality. What are schools of Buddhism? How many schools? There are actually many schools of Buddhism. Many of them are not even documented, but our general understanding is that first there was this school of Heinyan. Actually, there were many councils of Buddhism. Okay, after Buddha died, how are we to interpret his theories? There was a general, what should I say? There were two schools how we should interpret Buddhism, and both were actually different. Okay, one stressed more on impermanence and one more on permanence, and therefore Buddhism as a whole divided soon after Buddha died. Okay, this was mainly Heinyan, and second was Mahayana. Okay, now initially Heinyan prospered a lot. The theory of this Heinyan spread all around the world. Ashoka actually followed this Heinyan. He sent his embassies to Sri Lanka, spreading Heinyan all over, the Indian subcontinent. Okay, but later on, what happened was, as more and more philosophers appreciated this philosophy of Buddhism, then they started spreading this Mahayana. So what we find in Japan, Korea, or China, this is all Mahayana. This is what spread in the later ages. And whenever whenever a theory becomes popular, there are always sects. There are always more schools of thoughts. For example, when Raja Ram Mohan Roy's this Brahmo Samaj became popular, there were many interpretations of the school, and therefore it further got divided. So therefore, Hindyan is also divided in various schools, and Mahayana is also divided. So these are two major branches, and then there was one more Vajrayan, or the diamond vehicle, that later developed in Tibet. So we can say that there are currently three and various other branches. In Mahayana, the Shunyavad is one of the branches of Mahayana. Other branches in Mahayana are, apart from Shunyavad, Vigyanvad and Swatantra Vigyanvad, that are very famous philosophically. Okay. So now coming back to Shunya, if we say that we cannot explain what reality is, then we must also explain that why are we unable to explain what reality is, what this whole world is, okay, whole world and beyond is, okay, including God, soul, everything. If we say we cannot explain what this world is, which means there is something beyond. So what Shunyavad does is it goes a step further into the philosophy and says that we are unable to explain this world because of two things. One, that in this empirical world, which he called Vyavahar, in this Vyavaharik world, what happens is the real truth is covered, Samvrati. Samvrati, Samvrati. That the real truth is concealed behind some kind of a fake truth. Okay. So the first aspect of reality is the Samvrati. Okay, in the empirical world. And the second aspect of this world is, obviously if there is something covering the real truth, then there must exist some real truth which is to be covered. That real truth, he says, Ashu Ghosh and this Nagarjun says that that real truth is Tattva, okay, which is absolute, which is also known as Paramarth, okay, Paramarth, Tattva, or absolute. There is some absolute truth, and there is something that covers that absolute truth, and therefore we observe only only a small reality of that absolute truth that we call world. So world is actually some kind of a Maya, which is not exactly real. It is a result of this Samvrati covering the whole world. Okay. So his interpretation of that there is neither being nor not being is that we cannot understand the real reality. Okay. Now coming to the concept of Shunyata. This is the understanding of Prakriti Samutpad, and this is the theory that we cannot understand the world, and in that there is some absolute truth and some other truth that covers this absolute truth. This is the whole theory. Now coming to Shunyata, because it was the B part of the fourth question that I said that I would do. With the help of this Shunyata, he explains this. Okay, this is theory. What is this Shunyata? Shunyata is that there is some kind of this voidness in the world. Okay, the theory that there is some kind of voidness. We cannot tell a thing about the world is Shunyata. And it has two aspects. One is Sabhav Shunya, and then second is Prapanch Shunya. what is Swabhav Shunya? Swabhav means nature. The whole world is devoid of the ultimate reality. Okay. What is ultimate reality? This vyavharik world, this world that we see, is devoid of the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth. Or what we can say later on in Buddhism, they developed a God with the help of this theory. Okay, the whole world is devoid of ultimate reality, and the world of appearance, this world of appearance, is devoid of relativity. See, there in this Pratitya Samutpad, there is a concept that everything is relative. What is relative is the world. The whole world is relative. Whatever we find in this world is relative. So everything in this world, prapanch means world. Okay, prapanch means world. Panch means five. Prapanch means everything that is made of these five elements. What are the five elements? Earth, air, air, water, fire, space, and fire, space, and earth. These are the five elements. So everything made of these five elements. That is the whole world. Okay. This nature, in the ultimate reality, this relativity is missing, and in the relativity, the ultimate reality is missing. The theory of Shunyata is this, that when we are in this world, we are unable to realize the ultimate reality. And when we have realized that ultimate reality, then this world is missing. This world, which is made of these five elements, that is missing, which means when we realize the ultimate reality, this world ceases to be. Which means when we realize Pratitya Samutpad, when we realize the ultimate reality of the world, when we get liberated, and when this whole suffering ends, the cessation of suffering happens, in that moment, the world ceases to be. In that moment, the world is prapanch shunya. When we realize the absolute, the world is prapanch shunya, and when we are stuck in this world, we are unable to realize the absolute. That is the theory of Shunyata. Yeah. There is a theory of Shunyata, that this world is Swabhav Shunya, and the ultimate is prapanch shunya. This is Shunyata. Okay. This was how they interpreted the Pratitya Samutpad. Okay, that is it.
Thank you so much, Pulkit. This was really wonderful.
Yeah, Pulkit, actually this side, great. I mean, though I was going on and off because I'm in office. So, but it, the part which I heard, I mean, really mesmerizing and said. And your voice also, in the way you explain also, is very calm and peaceful. So it's really nice, really nice. Thanks a lot, Pulkit. So just a curious question. So, like, have you done your basic in philosophy or something? This is a part thing for you. How is it? Because we are very curious to know, how do you know so much? You are a truckload of knowledge in philosophy.
Actually, I said in my last meeting I was preparing for UPSC, so I have given a mains thrice, okay, and all every time with philosophy. So therefore, I had to revise it again and again, and therefore I know Indian philosophy. Not we in UPSC syllabus of philosophy. There is no logic. There is no philosophy of human person and so on. So I can explain this. The other courses I haven't read.
Oh, great. So you're a future IAS. Congratulations. In advance. Shani, tomorrow what will be doing?
I don't know. Govind was to take, I think, second question, no?
पापा पापा तो को मीटिंग कधी घंटा खत्म होऊन
I just have one request, and obviously this is just a personal opinion and a personal request. Considering how
Valuable whatever you're sharing with us is. I can see, you have so much insight into this. And the second question before we take it up, I think it's unfair on two counts. One, it's unfair to all of you who already know so much about this subject, because I'm not sure how many of us have done our bit by reading into this, and it shouldn't be like an instant mix for us. Now I fully understand what Govind was trying to say on the group. I think it's important that we do our bit of reading, so that even people like me who understand the text the way it is without really understanding the spirit, we should be able to contribute in terms of asking better questions. So I personally feel maybe we should reschedule for that reason. One, so that there is some reading and understanding beforehand. That's one. The second thing is we are only 10 people here. And I know Dipanita, for one, she was very interested in being a part of these sessions. So, like she said, what we can do is we can set up time in advance going forward for the rest of the questions. And it goes without saying that people should be prepared with their bit as well. Govind and Pulkit, if you feel that maybe we can have people send in their pointers or be ready with at least what they feel a particular question should address, we can do that. I mean, I, for one, would want to do that. I would want to at least be aware of some basic things that should be covered under each question. I may not be able to connect the dots as well as Pulkit connected the dots, or I may not have a greater understanding of how different concepts can be interwoven. And that's where people like Pulkit, who have a better understanding, can help me. But the least I can do is at least read and have some basic bullet points in place so that I can ask better questions, and an explanation can help me better. But this is my personal opinion. That's how I started off. So maybe the others can also come in here.
Yeah, that is completely okay.
So maybe we reschedule. Is that okay? Yakshit,
Yeah.
what do you feel?
I agree.
Yeah, see, I would request, first, since we are speaking, not everybody who's there on the call has spoken, so I would request all to at least say one line or something, so that it's more of a participative discussion. It's only been three guys speaking. So I would request everybody who's on this call to just, speak a line or two on this, and might be a feedback also, and what else we are looking at, what are we expecting from tomorrow's call, or a feedback of today's call as well. If a line or two, everybody can pitch in. Thanks. Yeah, right, Govind, right. So I can see the name Sarvanan, Devender Kumar, Sanchita Leri, Sandesh Molane, Pooja Nain, Suman Mahajan. If you can just, anybody can start one by one, so that it's more participative.
Yes, Yakshit. So, Sandesh here. In the last discussion, which took place on Sunday, I was there and we were discussing. And post that, I had a lengthy discussion with Pulkit. Thanks to him, he gave his precious time. He explained me things, but it's again a shortcoming on my side. So I being an working individual, so I basically so it's like I work in IT and there is insane work hours. So so I could not find any time. And yesterday, I think Pulki gave me a bit like he said that you can cover these two simple topics as of now. And so I think what Pulkit is doing over here is he's showing us the basically acting like a beacon and showing us the light. We should at least, whenever we find time, there will be like different individuals who are working. Some of them are not working. So different type of things. But we should always and try to find some time and at least some material. And like Anisha said, it's important that we have some questions beforehand so that we can contribute to the discussion, and at least in terms of questions, because what I feel is good questions will definitely bring out good answers, better answers.
Hi, Saroni here. Actually, I completely agree with you people. Sandesh, being working individuals, yes, we find it a bit hard, to find the time, and with late hours working and all, it's really difficult to even touch the material. Even though, we have the soft copy in the laptop, but still, we find it, difficult to open the system. Probably we might, we might be spending time on some other things, but still, when it comes to study, unless until I think we have a group study like this, I don't think a working person like me and all. Usually, I'm not that much motivated to be frank. So I think since we have this study, now I'm able to open it. I'm able to go through the materials, and it helps a lot, especially with not people like Pulkit, when they are guiding us through the chapters. When we go and read the chapters, it will be very easy for us, because actually we have already heard about it. So it will be very easy for us to go through the material, and of course we can close it quickly. So I think this is very helpful, and moreover, as Anisha said, yes, we should read the material in prior hand, so that when somebody explains, we will have an idea, and in case if we have any opinion, we can put it forward and we can take it positively.
Thanks, Arvind. In fact, adding to what you're saying, I know a lot of us here are going to be working people or students. I'm a lawyer and I work with the company 5 days a week. But here again, simply put, I think we can categorize the entire group into two kinds of people. One is probably people who are doing it because they are studying more dedicatedly towards an objective. And then there are people who are doing it purely out of interest. So I think if we follow maybe this dual approach of at least putting all the bullet points in one place, and I'm willing to take responsibility to do that. Obviously, that comes from reading in advance, so I can put down whatever bullet points I think are applicable for whatever questions that I take up. The first category of people who are studying more dedicatedly can obviously contribute in video sessions in audio and video sessions like Pulkit, and then there are others who just want to get done with the assignment. Probably they can just refer to the bullet points, because there's so many people who are asking for a recording. So maybe then we just copy paste for those who just want to sort of tick in the box or get done with the assignment.
I agree.
It totally depends on our own individual level of interest and how much time we can give.
I agree, Anisha. If I am audible, I completely
I also agree with Anisha. It's more of your interest and passion than the time. I think time everybody has. We find passion.
And frankly, we can't even blame them for it, Yakshit. You know what I mean? If there are people who are working on Saturdays, complete respect to them. But maybe this way everybody is happier. People who are dedicatedly studying and investing so much, they also feel more fulfilled. Whereas others who just kind of want notes or minutes of a meeting, with all due respect to them, if we have bulleted points, maybe that helps them as well, because we are anyway doing this exercise.
Right, I agree with you. In fact, it's an ecosystem wherein people will also be there who are just taking and understanding so that they evolve. Even those they are not able to contribute. So I feel we are fine and we are on the same page. They're just requesting Pooja, I can see, and Devinder. If you just both can put in your words.
Hello, sir. I'm Devendra Kumar. Actually, sir, I am from English background, and I know nothing about this philosophy, and I am here to get everything, but I can't give you people anything. So, thank you very much, especially Pulkit sir, who teach in so good way. I think Ashutosh sir, they couldn't teach in such a good manner as Pulkit sir is teaching. So, if you people assign me any work, I will read that and contribute in the group.
thank you. Thanks a lot for your words. In fact, we all are like you. I'll say. Even I am as less knowledgeable or less whatever you can say when I don't know anything. So we all will try and to grow at least through these sessions.
Thank you, sir.
So I think everybody has contributed. Anything else anybody wants to mention so that at least tomorrow then we are prepared. So Pulkit, what do you suggest and Govind, what do you suggest for tomorrow?
I think we can at whatever time it must depend on the question. If we are prepared, we can do it.
Yeah, Govind, I think 3 to 5 questions, 3 and 5 have been allocated. Okay.
No, 3 and 5 are not yet to be taken. They are yet to be taken. They are not allocated.
Okay.
So Yakshit, can you take 3?
Whenever I think second question is I think taken by Govind.
I will have to see, very honestly and frankly, this week has been extremely, tomorrow also I'll be traveling to my corporate office. I'm not sure if I'll be able to attend tomorrow. So that's why I'm saying I am doubtful. So though I will take question 5, but I request if somebody has other be given. Because if I'm not able to attend, then it will become an issue.
I think what I can try to do, Yakshit, is I can at least try to trace where these areas are covered in the module. This is one subject that we are talking about. So let me try and trace it. I don't have my copy of CD Sharma yet, so I will refer to the PDF. Let me at least try to trace where these topics are so that, I won't be able to narrate it the way we did, but at least I will try to trace which part of the module covers it. Is that some basic movement at least?
Right. In fact, same. I am a nobody in philosophy. I don't have any background, so I am at a same boat as you. So I think even if I take the question, I'll be able to present a very basic kind of a version of it. Nothing Pulkit is doing it like a number 100. I'm 0. So that is what the expectation should be of the audience if I am taking that question number 5. I'll be very honest with all of you.
Okay. I think Govind is saying question 3.
I can take more questions from. Yeah. Question 3, B and C part was taken by Doordarshan. So I was saying that I can take more questions from here, Indian philosophy, as I have read it. The thing is, then please, you must share the burden for rest all of the topics.
Yeah, sure. That would be perfect. In fact, Pulkit, that would be really perfect. Because since your background, what we can also do is that this is perfect the way when you are planning to allocate. So we all, for example, if I am taking question 5, so I'll present a very basic view, and Anisha might also present her view, and then you can come on board and present entire, elongated view and the in-depth analysis of that. So that can be done. Yeah.
I can tell you which questions are easy to cover. Okay, so you can take those topics. Yeah, and then the topics that are difficult, I will take it. Okay?
Perfect. That would be perfect.
So this fourth A and C were easy. So I think he took it. Sandesh took it. Okay. Fourth B and C. Oh, sorry. Fourth A and C. Okay. B I did. I did some later. Okay. So he would be taking.
Which question you are saying?
I'm saying fourth A and C are easy and they are already taken by Sandesh. Okay. Tagore and Iqbal. Okay. Actually, whatever is I am the easier topics are those which are independent. Okay, Tagore and Muhammad Iqbal are independent topics, so they are easier. But when you go to this question, D, E, and F of four, they are all Vedanta related topics. Okay, and there is something which is which you will have to compare. I mean, Ramanuja's philosophy with Shankaracharya's philosophy and so on. So these topics, the orthodox philosophy topics are a bit difficult. Okay.
Correct.
This is the thing. So A and C we will do. Now question 5 is a bit simpler. Okay. Rita cosmic salvation of Radha Krishnan. This Vivekanand must be simple. Vivekanand only I think unit 1 of block 6. In 4 or 5 pages they have covered all of Vivekanand's philosophy. Okay.
So that I can take. Is there a question on that? Okay. Vivekanand?
Yeah, you can take.
Which question, if you can help me out, which question is it?
Fifth B. In the 5th question, see Radha Krishnan, Vivekanand, these questions would be easy. You can simply search on the internet and you can present it. Also, these questions, these topics I have not prepared.
Okay, so fifth D, I will do. Fifth D is Swami Vivekanand, right?
Yeah. Someone can take B and C also.
Sure, fifth D I am taking. Anisha, if you can take something.
I can take B. I can try for B. Cosmic salvation view of Radha Krishna.
Or this also, yeah.
Yeah, Pulkit, sorry.
I was saying that this question B and C, third B and C, this is also easy, although it is from Jainism, but I think it is easier than other philosophies.
Okay, fifth B and C, is it?
Yeah, but Doordarshan said that he or she would take it, but they have not responded actually.
Okay, never mind. Let me do my basic work on question 5, and then if there's someone to fill in, that's okay. Otherwise, I can try to share whatever I found.
So, okay, I can do this 4 questions, A, E, and F part. Okay, Sandesh is doing A and C part. B I discussed. I will do D, E, and F. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Anyone wants to do this atomic theory of Jessica, this is also easy. I can tell you exact pages either of CD Sharma or the notes. Okay, only 3-4 pages and you would be able to do this.
No, I'll take it. If it's before, I'll take it. Tell me the question, if you can tell me.
3A. Write an essay on atomic theory of Vaisheshika.
Okay, 3A. Atomic theory of Vaisheshika. Sure. If you count this,
the 5 elements. No?
Okay. Understood. So, which page? It's
Where on CD Sharma or
no, as in, see, I'm completely blank on these topics.
And if you are not comfortable with that book, then I can tell you the blocks exactly.
No, sure. I'll do the CD Sharma. I think PDF is also there. So CD Sharma se main kar lunga. Page number. Any pages number are there, or is it like?
Yeah. It is chapter 11.
Okay.
Okay, and chapter 11, and on the first page itself, you would find the second topic.
Padarth. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
So from there,
Along with Padarth, yeah. Padarth is one page, then there is Dravya. Okay.
Okay.
Next page, it is 2 pages. Okay. And then 2 more pages on Karm, Samanya, Vishesh, and Samvay. Okay. You can see it is an easy read if you want. You can for better understanding.
चालू कर लॅपटॉप
It's better if you read the first 10 pages of this chapter. Okay, it would be. I think it is easier.
Understood. So I'll just repeat what I understood. Sure. So I'll just repeat. I will go to chapter 11 and read the first 10 pages, which will cover Padarth, Drab, Gud, Karm, Samya, Vishesh, Samay. Correct?
Yeah.
So am I audible now?
Samay. So okay, sure. So I'll cover all these topics and this will be answered to the right?
So I'm asking,
when you have read this, then the whole theory, this whatever you have read till now in these topics, now there would be a brief topic known as atomism.
Okay.
That would be the conclusion of that whole discussion that is done by that book.
And is it there in the same first 10 pages or somewhere else I have to go?
Okay, this is no. First 10 pages.
Understood. So atomism also I've written now. Keyword, sure.
Yes. Yeah, you can only read atomism, but it's better to read first 10 pages. You will get an idea what they are trying to say in their atomic theory.
No, understood. I got the reference. Sure. So I'll prepare this. So 3A I'm preparing and I'll present all this, and 5D, which is Swami Vivekanand, that I'll take from Swami Vivekanand. Is there any specific area where the book is there, or how is it?
Swami Vivekanand is not in the book. It is in the block 6.
अच्छा, in our course material, ना?
Yeah, in course material.
ठीक है, वो तो I'll see. Block 6 I'll see. ठीक है. Thanks.
I can also do this third question last part. Happy baat, theory of error. Okay.
So Pulkit, am I audible now?
So I will do this third question last part and fourth question last 3.
Sure. I think Govind is writing something very unique and interesting. Govind, can you tell from where we can learn more about this? Do you have any brochure or something? PhD by ISKCON, which is connecting science with philosophy. Great. That would be perfect, Govind. Thank you. Yeah. I have to drop out now. So I think I'll prepare these two questions, 5D and 3A, and let's meet tomorrow. My request is, can we keep it a bit early, like 11? What happens is that lunch and everything also comes. Can we keep it 10? Or should we keep it 11? Would you say, Govind and Pulkit?
I think there was some problem with someone, so we can in fact even delay it further. That is also a possibility. If you are free later in the day.
Who is someone? Who is an issue? Who has an issue?
It was Doordarshan.
He's there today in the call?
No,
he's not there.
So I think we should go ahead. If we all, Anisha, you are comfortable with early?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, in fact, honestly, I'm okay with 9, like Govind said. Whatever you all decide, because I think 11 to 2 is not going to be sufficient time.
Right. Because it's in middle that neither your first half is like second half. You're
yeah. True.
I think 9 Pulkit we can keep. What Govind sir is.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's keep it. Sarvana is fine. 9 is fine for you. You're not audible. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah. For me, it's fine.
Fine ना? ठीक है.
Yeah.
ये कर लेते हैं. Decide हो गया फिर. 9 बजे कर लेते हैं. Late. Fine है. जिसको नहीं join हो पाता 9 बजे, they can join.
Tomorrow 9, right?
Yeah, tomorrow 9.
Tomorrow can we keep 10?
Didn't get you, Pulkit.
10 o'clock. Can we keep 10 o'clock?
Sure. If you are available 10, then तो 10 ही करना है. You are the lead guy. ठीक है, then 10 final कर लेते हैं. Yeah, 10 is final. Sure. Thanks. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye, Akshay.
Bye.
Pulkit, I just had one query. For 5, I know Yakshit has taken D, which is Vivekanand. For the remaining, it's okay if I refer to the blog, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The independent topics are better given in the block.
Okay, got it.
Like Tagore, Iqbal, Vivekanand, and so on.
Okay. These in 5 we have RTA, and then Radhakrishnan. Sorry.
It's called Rith.
Okay.
He is cosmic order.
Okay, got it. Fine. So I'll refer to the blog.
Yeah, Rith, I will have to see in which block it is given. I am not sure if it is in the 6th block. It might be in the 1st block.
Okay, I'll check. Not an issue. And the remaining, I just want to check with you. It's okay if I just refer to the blog, or should I look into CD Sharma also?
For E, F, G, and H, you will have to, I think, look into CD Sharma.
Okay, fine.
I think you should leave the later parts of the 5th question. A and all.
Okay, Pulkit. I'll focus on A, B, and D. A, B, and C first, and then if I still can cover more, then I'll go to the latter.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we'll reconnect at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Pulkit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.